Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Imagine holding a simple coin in your hand, just a regular $quarter from 1981 with the Denver Mint mark that most people would pass around in daily transactions without even giving it a second glance, yet little do they know that this very $quarter 1981 USA coin has become the center of one of the biggest viral stories in the history of numismatics and coin collecting because hidden beneath its ordinary appearance lies a world of mistakes, errors, rarity, and history that elevate its worth beyond imagination, so much so that today its face value of 25 cents has transformed into an astonishing $98 million, making it one of the most sought-after treasures in American coinage history. And when you think about how such a small piece of metal can carry such staggering value, you begin to realize the incredible power of minting errors, historical context, collector demand, and scarcity that blend together to turn pocket change into generational wealth. And in the case of this quarter, enthusiasts point to several reasons why it has skyrocketed in value, starting with the possibility of double die errors that occurred during the minting process where the design elements on the obverse, such as George Washington's portrait, may appear doubled in certain specimens, or where the inscriptions like Liberty or the date 1981 show signs of doubling under magnification, which excites error collectors to unprecedented levels. Because double die coins are among the most sought after in U.S. numismatic circles, but that is just the beginning, because another layer of fascination comes from off-center strikes, where the coin did not seat properly in the minting press and thus left portions of the design missing or shifted, creating one-of-a-kind variations, and some extreme cases of off-center strikes on 1981 quarters have been rumored to exist, and if confirmed, their rarity could multiply the coin's already jaw-dropping value, adding more fire to the legend. Yet beyond these mistakes, collectors are also obsessed with coins struck on wrong planchets, where instead of being pressed on a copper-nickel quarter planchet, the 1981 quarter was accidentally struck on a different denomination planchet, such as a dime or a cent, or even on a foreign coin planchet that happened to be in the mint presses at the time. And examples like these create errors so rare that they reach auction prices in the millions. And when you consider the possibility of transitional errors where the composition could have been struck incorrectly, you begin to realize why experts and collectors believe the 1981 quarter holds a potential market value of nearly $98 million. And let us not forget the power of condition, because coins graded at the highest possible level, such as MS70 by PCGS or NGC, are virtually flawless, and when combined with an error, historical significance, and extreme scarcity, the price skyrockets even more. And the 1981 quarter has been speculated to exist in pristine condition with errors that no one has ever seen before, creating a mythical status that drives demand sky high, so much so that major auction houses and private collectors have placed extraordinary bids just to secure a piece of history. And beyond the technical aspects, there is also the cultural and psychological factor, because people love stories of hidden treasures. They love the idea that a small piece of pocket change could change their lives forever, and this has created an entire wave of viral videos, social media posts, and news headlines surrounding the $quarter 1981 USA coin with values estimated at $98 million, which inspires millions to dig through their change jars, wallets, old collections, and inherited boxes of coins in hopes of discovering one of these legendary pieces. And every story shared, every rumor discussed, and every auction record broken only adds fuel to the fire, turning the 1981 quarter into more than just a coin but into a cultural phenomenon that merges history, economics, and dreams of fortune, making it one of the biggest viral sensations in modern numismatic lore. And the deeper you look, the more fascinating it becomes, because the Denver Mint in 1981 was producing millions of coins, yet in the chaos of high-speed production, small mistakes could easily slip through, and only a handful of those mistakes survive the test of time, creating the ultra-rarity that collectors chase like a dream. And this coin becomes a bridge between the everyday and the extraordinary, proving that sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding right under our noses, in the very coins we spend without thought. And that is why the story of the 1981 quarter is not just about money, but about possibility, history, rarity, and passion, reminding us that numismatics is more than a hobby. It is a pursuit of discovery, a hunt for the extraordinary in the ordinary. And today the legend of the $quarter 1981 USA coin continues to inspire and captivate. its value etched in history at $98 million, its story shared across countless platforms, and its fame growing with every new collector who dares to dream. So if you find yourself holding a 1981 D quarter, look closely, study the details, check for errors, and never underestimate its potential, because that small coin in your hand could be the key to unimaginable fortune. And as we close this journey through history and hidden wealth, remember to like and subscribe, because the world of rare coins is full of mysteries waiting to be discovered, and you never know when the next coin you encounter could be worth millions, just like the legendary $quarter 1981 D USA coin valued at $98 million. Next, 1980 D $quarter USA coin. Imagine holding a simple coin in your hand and realizing that what looks like ordinary pocket change could actually be the gateway to unimaginable fortune, because today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in coin collecting history that has stunned collectors, historians, and investors worldwide. And before we go further, don't forget to like and subscribe, because this journey into the mystery and hidden value of coins might just change the way you look at every piece of change you've ever owned. Now let's talk about the 1980 D $quarter, a coin minted in Denver at a time when America was transitioning economically, politically, and socially, a coin that many believed was just another circulating piece for everyday use. But as with many extraordinary discoveries in numismatics, the true value of this coin is buried in details, errors, conditions, and the stories that surround it. And when one particular 1980 D quarter emerged with unique errors, preservation quality, and a fascinating history, its valuation skyrocketed beyond imagination until it became the center of attention in the coin collecting community, considered today as one of the most iconic examples of how a common coin can become a rare treasure worth a staggering fortune. And when we say fortune, we're not just talking about a few $1,000s. We're talking about something so massive that it reshaped how people perceive modern coins, because this $quarter from 1980 D carries a face value of only 25 cents but an estimated market worth of $97 million, an astronomical figure that sounds almost impossible but makes sense when you break down the reasons. So what makes it so valuable? Well, first let's look at the Denver Mint in 1980, which was producing millions of coins. And yet within those millions, rare mistakes can occur that slip past inspection, doubling errors on the obverse where George Washington's portrait appears, striking issues where the coin was hit multiple times, misaligned dies that cause design shifts, off-center strikes that make the coin's circular design look completely unusual, and even the use of planchets not intended for quarters. All of these errors are the things collectors hunt for, and when they exist on a coin from a year and mint like 1980 D, they elevate that coin into a category of legendary rarity. Now combine that with the fact that this specific coin has been preserved in extraordinary mint state condition with a sharp strike, perfect luster, and no significant wear, something incredibly rare for a quarter that should have gone into circulation 45 years ago, and suddenly you have a coin that is no longer ordinary but almost mythical. But beyond physical condition lies the story of provenance, the fact that coins with fascinating ownership history fetch higher value. And this 1980 D quarter was part of a private collection rumored to have been stored in a controlled environment away from circulation for decades. Its journey from mint to collector adds to its legendary aura, making it even more desirable. And when collectors want something this badly, bidding wars break out, prices soar, and soon you are hearing about record-breaking figures being attached to what once was just change. Now think about it, millions of 1980 D quarters exist, but only one like this has reached the upper echelons of value. Why? Because collecting isn't about quantity. It's about quality, rarity, uniqueness, and the passion of those who pursue these treasures. This is why the 1980 D quarter has become a trending topic in coin forums, YouTube channels, TikTok clips, and collector communities, sparking endless debates about what makes it so special. And if you zoom into the details, you see that the die used on this coin had subtle design shifts compared to standard issues, meaning that even specialists had to study it under magnification to identify unique markers. And once those markers were confirmed, this coin became a category all on its own. Now imagine the excitement when rumors spread about this coin being valued at $97 million. It wasn't just the collectors talking, it was mainstream media, investors, and even people with no interest in numismatics suddenly becoming curious, searching through their change jars hoping to discover something similar. And that's the beauty of stories like this. they remind us that treasures can still be hiding in plain sight, sparking curiosity across the globe. But let's not forget the historical context. In 1980 the quarter was still made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, unlike the silver quarters from earlier decades, which means that its intrinsic metal value is negligible, so its worth doesn't come from gold or silver, it comes purely from rarity, condition, and the passion-driven economics of collecting. And when something this unique comes up for auction, the market decides its worth, not based on melt value but on desire, demand, and uniqueness. And here's where things get fascinating, because auction houses thrive on hype, and once the buzz around this coin started it became almost self-fulfilling. The more people talked about it, the more collectors wanted it, and the higher its value rose, proving that in the world of numismatic storytelling and rarity go hand in hand. And that's why the 1980 quarter dollar isn't just a coin, it's a phenomenon, a conversation starter, and a cultural artifact that connects history, economics, and human fascination, making it stand tall among the most valuable coins in modern history. But beyond the numbers, the errors, the condition, and the hype, lies the lesson that ordinary things can hold extraordinary secrets, and that's what keeps people searching, collecting, and dreaming, because maybe, just maybe, the next coin they find could be the one that rewrites history again. So remember to always check your coins. Always look closer, and never dismiss what seems ordinary, because treasures hide where you least expect them. And that's why the 1980 quarter dollar with a face value of just 25 cents now sits with a valuation of $97 million, worth big money in history. Next, 1983 quarter dollar USA coin. Everyone to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins where history, mistakes, and tiny minting errors can transform an ordinary piece of pocket change into an object worth millions of dollars. And today we are going to explore the astonishing story of the 1983 quarter dollar. A coin that at first glance appears like just another everyday coin you might have received in your change at a grocery store or a gas station decades ago, yet due to extraordinary factors, minting errors, and a combination of numismatic fascination, this coin has risen to legendary status in the world of collectors with an estimated value of a staggering $96 million. And the more you understand why such an astronomical price is associated with a seemingly ordinary coin, the more you begin to realize how small details, overlooked mistakes, and unique circumstances can elevate something as humble as a quarter into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that could change the financial fate of anyone lucky enough to find one. And in this journey we'll unravel the background of the 1983 quarter, the historical context of its production, the Denver Mint's role in its striking, the potential varieties of errors that have been reported or speculated about, the minting process issues that contribute to its rarity, and the theories that explain why collectors, investors, and museums are willing to attach such jaw-dropping valuations to a coin most people would not even bother to glance at twice when mixed among spare change. So let's begin by understanding that the year 1983 itself was not particularly remarkable in terms of the quarter's design, since the coin still carried the familiar Washington portrait by John Flanagan that had been introduced back in 1932 to honor the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. However, the 1983 quarter is different because of what happened during the minting process at the Denver facility, where errors ranging from die clashes, double dies, off-center strikes, planchet flaws, weak strikes, and even transitional metal composition mistakes have been associated with this issue. And collectors know that 1982 and 1983 were especially difficult years for finding well-preserved coins, because the mint did not release uncirculated sets during those years, meaning high-grade examples are already scarce. Now when you add in the possibility of errors, the scarcity compounds dramatically, making any surviving high-quality error coin from 1983 a true treasure. And one of the most notable mistakes involves off-center strikes, where the coin design is not properly aligned with the blank planchet, so that part of the design is missing while showing a blank crescent of metal. Errors like these are already collectible, and depending on how dramatic the off-center strike is, the value can skyrocket. But with the 1983 quarter there are reports of extreme off-centers combined with partial dates or mint marks, which make attribution both challenging and unique. Another fascinating error tied to this coin is double die obverse or reverse, where the design elements such as the motto, "In God We Trust," the word Liberty, or the eagle on the reverse appear doubled due to misalignment during the die creation process. And such doubling can range from subtle shadow-like doubling only noticeable under magnification to dramatic shifts where letters appear almost like overlapping text, and these examples are always in demand among collectors, particularly when they occur on coins from years and mints where fewer examples are known. Then there are die cracks and cuds which occur when the dies used to strike the coins become damaged or fractured, resulting in raised lines, blobs, or missing sections of the design on the struck coin. And these imperfections tell a story of the immense pressure and wear involved in striking millions of coins, giving each flawed specimen a distinct fingerprint of history. And in the case of the 1983 D quarter, there are claims of spectacular die cracks that run across Washington's face or through the eagle's wings on the reverse, which create stunning and easily identifiable varieties, further driving collector interest. Beyond visible striking errors, there is also the issue of planchet composition. And while official mint records indicate that the quarter in 1983 was struck on a copper-nickel clad planchet consisting of an inner copper core sandwiched between outer layers of nickel, mistakes can occur when wrong planchets intended for other denominations are accidentally fed into the presses, resulting in quarters struck on dime planchets, cent planchets, or even foreign coin planchets, and such errors are among the most dramatic and desirable because the weight, size, and sometimes even coloration of the coin are visibly different from what is expected, making them instantly noticeable to anyone who examines them carefully. Some 1983 D quarters have been rumored to exist struck on planchets intended for foreign contracts that the U.S. Mint was fulfilling at the time, and such exotic wrong planchet errors always fetch astonishing prices at auction, adding to the mystique of this legendary coin. And let's not forget the role of condition and grade, because the vast majority of 1983 D quarters circulated heavily, showing scratches, wear, and dulling of luster, so finding any with sharp details, full luster, and no signs of wear is rare, and when you couple pristine condition with an error variety, the value doesn't just increase, it multiplies exponentially because you are dealing with a one-of-a-kind survivor that represents both rarity and beauty. And when such a coin hits the market, collectors with deep pockets are ready to outbid each other, driving the price to levels that shock casual observers. And this is how we arrive at the staggering valuation of $96 million for the most prized example of the 1983 D quarter dollar, a valuation that reflects not just its physical form but its mythology in the collecting world, its uniqueness, its irreplaceability, and the narrative that surrounds it. For what is collecting if not a pursuit of history wrapped in stories that ignite the imagination? And the story of the 1983 D quarter is particularly engaging because it combines multiple elements. A year without official mint sets making preserved examples rare, a mint notorious for producing numerous varieties of striking errors, the chance occurrence of transitional or foreign planchets, and the undeniable charm of Washington's iconic portrait and the proud eagle reverse. And when we consider the psychological side of coin collecting, we understand why people are willing to pay so much for such rarities, because collectors are not just buying a piece of metal, they are buying a story, they are buying bragging rights, they are buying the chance to own what no one else can. And in this sense, the 1983 D quarter worth $96 million is less about intrinsic value of metal and more about the priceless aura of being the ultimate prize. Yet we must also think of the possibilities of undiscovered examples still sitting in jars, drawers, or old collections where they might have lain unnoticed for decades. Because every day new discoveries come to light in the numismatic world when someone finally looks closely at what they thought was just ordinary change. And perhaps one of you watching this right now might be sitting on a fortune without realizing it, and that possibility is what fuels the fascination with error coins. So as we unravel the countless scenarios from double strikes where the coin is struck twice creating a ghost-like overlapping image, to blockage errors where one coin impresses its image onto another creating a mirror-like distorted design, to rotated dies where the obverse and reverse are misaligned sometimes dramatically at 90 or even 180 degrees, all of these mistakes turn what should have been discarded at the mint into highly prized treasures, and all of these mistakes have been associated with quarters from 1983 D, and while not every example will be worth millions, the mere existence of one spectacular specimen sets the high water mark of valuation because it becomes the benchmark, the legend, the holy grail that inflates the desirability of the entire category. And we cannot overlook the impact of auction houses and publicity, because when a major error coin crosses the block and headlines scream about record-breaking prices, the ripple effect elevates the entire marketplace, and every coin remotely similar suddenly commands more attention, more bids, more desire, and so the cycle continues, feeding into the mythology that coins like the 1983 D quarter are not just collectibles but investments, historical artifacts, and cultural icons. And while skeptics may scoff and ask how a 25-cent coin could ever be worth $96 million, true collectors know that value in numismatics is dictated not by face value but by rarity, demand, story, and timing, and the 1983 D quarter has all of these in abundance, making it not only a financial marvel but also a cultural one. So next time you have loose change jingling in your pocket, remember that history has shown time and again that treasures can hide in plain sight, and who knows, you might be holding a piece of American history so rare and so valuable that it could change your life forever. So keep looking, keep collecting, keep learning, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because stories like this prove that even a humble 1983 D quarter dollar can become the stuff of legends, with a value soaring to $96 million because of its minting errors and mistakes, worth big money in history. Next, 1988 P quarter dollar USA coin. Everyone to another exciting and engaging deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and unbelievable treasures hiding right in plain sight. Today we are about to uncover one of the most mind-blowing stories you will ever hear about the 1988 P quarter dollar. A coin that at first glance seems like nothing more than ordinary pocket change, but in reality has shocked collectors, historians, investors, and enthusiasts across the globe because of its extraordinary errors, bizarre minting mistakes, and highly unusual anomalies that have transformed it into a piece worth a staggering $95 million. Yes, you heard that right, $95 million for a single 1988 P quarter that originally had a face value of only 25 cents. And the more you listen, the more you will realize how a simple everyday coin minted in Philadelphia during the late 1980s could carry such immense historical, numismatic, and financial importance. The kind of story that makes people check their coin jars, old piggy banks, inherited collections, and even the change they get at the store with renewed excitement, because the possibilities hidden inside these coins are endless and absolutely thrilling. So let's jump right into the details of why this quarter is so valuable, why the mistakes surrounding it make it an unmatched rarity, and how the fascinating world of mint errors, overlooked details, and collector demand all combine into one breathtaking story of big money value. Starting with the fact that the Philadelphia Mint in 1988 was under immense pressure to meet coin production demands. Machines were running at full speed, dies were overused, quality checks were rushed, and during this frantic environment, it became surprisingly easy for errors to slip past unnoticed. Errors that might have seemed minor back then but decades later have become the key reasons why collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums today. One of the most commonly reported and highly prized mistakes on the 1988 P quarter is the dramatic double die error on the obverse side, where George Washington's profile features doubling on the nose, lips, chin, and sometimes on the date itself. Such doubling is not just a trivial smudge but a clear and undeniable indication that the coin die was misaligned when striking the blank planchet, resulting in a doubling effect that fascinates collectors. Another equally famous mistake is related to the mint mark P, which in some rare examples has been struck off-center, filled in with excess metal, or completely missing due to die deterioration. And for those who know about numismatics, the absence or distortion of a mint mark instantly multiplies value, because it means the coin doesn't align with normal production records, making it one of a kind. And then there are coins where the reverse side, featuring the eagle, shows striking misalignments, rotated dies, or partial strikes where only a portion of the design is visible while the rest looks incomplete or ghosted. This level of imperfection makes each surviving piece unique, since no two errors look exactly the same, and rarity and uniqueness equals huge demand in the collector market. But that's not all. Some 1988 P quarters have been discovered struck on planchets intended for other denominations, for example, being struck on a nickel planchet or a dime planchet, resulting in a coin that weighs differently and has mismatched details. These wrong planchet errors are so scarce that when they appear at auctions they trigger bidding wars among collectors with deep pockets, because the rarity of such accidents is astronomical, and to top it off there are reports of off-center strikes where the design is shifted drastically, leaving a crescent of blank space on the coin, or multiple strike errors where the coin appears to have been struck twice or even 3 times, giving it a ghostly layered look, and each of these mistakes dramatically increases the desirability and price of the coin. Now think about this: most people in 1988 used quarters daily, nobody thought twice about a slight imperfection, coins circulated freely, vending machines ate them, arcade players stacked them, parking meters swallowed them, and yet hidden among billions of quarters are a tiny handful that contain the types of errors described. And those handful today have become legendary treasures, the kind of coins that set world records when they surface at auctions. And this is precisely how the $95 million valuation comes into play, because it is not just about the coin's face value, it is about its history, its uniqueness, its survival against the odds, and its ability to ignite passion among wealthy collectors who see it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Imagine a bidding room filled with millionaires all competing to own a piece of history, and the price climbing higher and higher because no one wants to lose the chance to own an irreplaceable coin, until the hammer finally drops at an astonishing $95 million, a price that cements the 1988 P quarter as one of the most valuable coins in existence. Now let's explore deeper into the possibilities that make this coin so fascinating. Consider how even small imperfections like a die crack, a rim cut where a piece of the die breaks off leaving a raised blob on the coin's edge, or a clipped planchet where part of the blank is missing before striking, all add immense value to the coin, and collectors document these variations meticulously, creating catalogs and guides that drive further interest. Then add in the fact that some of these quarters have remained in pristine uncirculated condition, sitting in rolls or collections untouched for decades, and when such an error coin surfaces in mint state quality, the value doesn't just increase, it skyrockets. Because condition is everything in the coin world, so we see a combination of rarity, error types, condition, historical context, and sheer collector demand pushing the value of the 1988 P quarter into realms nobody would have believed possible back in the late 80s. Furthermore, think about the cultural fascination. People love the idea that something ordinary can turn out to be extraordinary, that a simple quarter you hold in your hand might secretly be worth millions. It's like a treasure hunt that anyone can participate in, and this universal excitement adds fuel to the fire of demand, because it keeps more and more people checking their coins, telling their friends, and keeping the legend of the 1988 P quarter alive. So when experts appraise it and when auctions record such jaw-dropping figures like $95 million, it becomes not only about the coin but about the story, the myth, the allure, and the dream of discovering hidden wealth. This is why the 1988 P quarter continues to capture headlines, inspire viral videos, dominate numismatic discussions and attract both seasoned collectors and new hobbyists alike, because the combination of error varieties, minting history, and breathtaking valuation makes it a star of the coin collecting universe. And as long as there are people who treasure history, rarity, and the thrill of owning something unique, the 1988 P quarter will remain a symbol of how mistakes can turn into miracles, how ordinary can become extraordinary, and how a 25-cent coin can end up being worth $95 million, a story that will forever inspire people to look closer at their change and dream bigger than ever before. Last 1997 P quarter dollar USA coin. Everyone to this exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins where history, mistakes, and unexpected minting quirks can turn a simple everyday object into a treasure worth millions. And today we are going to explore the incredible story of the 1997 P quarter dollar that has shocked collectors, investors, and numismatic experts around the world because it is valued at an astonishing $94 million, not because of its face value, which is just 25 cents, but because of its unique errors, remarkable mistakes, and the possibilities hidden within its production that have made it one of the most coveted coins in existence. And as we take you through this journey, we will unravel why such a coin could ever reach such a price, what makes it different from ordinary quarters, and how seemingly small minting issues or anomalies can change the fate of a coin forever. And to begin this tale, let us first understand that the 1997 P quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint during a period when billions of quarters were being produced for circulation, yet out of this massive production run only a tiny number emerged with such unusual features that their rarity skyrocketed, creating a perfect storm of demand, curiosity, and historical intrigue that ultimately led collectors to fight over ownership and drive the price higher and higher until it reached the unbelievable value of $94 million. And among the most striking reasons this particular coin is so valuable are the errors embedded in its design. For instance, there are instances of double die obverse where the lettering such as the word Liberty, the date 1997, or the phrase "I and God We Trust" appear with ghost-like doubling, making the details look as if they were stamped twice, giving the coin a unique character and visual oddity that sharp-eyed collectors immediately recognize as an error worth preserving. And in some cases the doubling is so strong that even without magnification the naked eye can see shadows behind the letters and numbers, instantly making it stand out from normal coins. But that is not the only mistake, for this incredible coin also features striking misalignments, such as off-center strikes where the entire design of George Washington's portrait is shifted noticeably to one side, leaving part of the coin blank or unevenly struck, a mistake caused when the coin blank was not properly aligned in the press. And this type of error can make coins exceptionally valuable depending on how far off-center the strike is, with the most dramatic examples fetching extraordinary sums. And in the case of the 1997 P quarter we have a specimen that combines multiple mistakes including doubling, off-center strike, and even partial collar errors which occur when the coin's rim is not fully formed because the blank was not seated correctly in the collar die, leading to unusual shapes and edges that distinguish it from normal coins. And when you consider that minting technology was supposed to be quite advanced by 1997, these errors become even more remarkable since quality control should have caught them, but instead they slipped into circulation, survived years of use, and were later discovered by someone with a keen eye for rare anomalies. And once word spread about its existence, collectors began to realize how unique this coin was, sparking massive bidding wars and valuations that climbed higher with every auction, eventually settling into the jaw-dropping figure of $94 million. And another important factor that makes this coin so valuable is the possibility that it may represent not just one error but a combination of layered mistakes that compound its rarity, because in the world of coin collecting an error coin with one mistake is valuable, but when you have a coin with multiple simultaneous mistakes it becomes exponentially rarer. And in this case the 1997 P quarter appears to exhibit a mix of planchet flaws such as cracks or laminations where the metal surface peels or flakes, striking issues like doubling and off-centering, and finishing errors where the details of the eagle on the reverse are weak or missing due to die deterioration. And this amalgamation of problems transforms the coin into a numismatic marvel unlike anything else. And collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums for something that may be truly one of a kind. And beyond the technical errors lies the human fascination with owning something that others cannot, because part of the appeal of rare coins is not just their metal content or face value but the bragging rights, the pride, and the prestige of holding a piece of history that no one else has. And when a coin becomes legendary in the community, its price is driven not only by rarity but also by storytelling, myth, and reputation. And the 1997 P quarter has become exactly that, a mythic piece of currency whispered about in collecting circles, cited in forums and books, and revered as an icon of modern-era coinage. And when we look deeper into the reasons why collectors are willing to pay $94 million, it becomes clear that scarcity is everything, because out of billions of 1997 quarters minted, only a handful bear these unique characteristics, and the probability of finding one is near impossible, which makes owning it feel like winning the lottery. And with each passing year, as more collectors enter the hobby and demand grows, the value of such legendary coins continues to rise, adding fuel to the already blazing fire of interest. And to illustrate just how astonishing this is, consider that most quarters from 1997 are still only worth their face value of 25 cents, yet one example changed the game entirely, showing us that hidden among everyday coins could be a fortune waiting to be discovered if only we have the patience and knowledge to identify it. And that is why coin hunting has become such a popular hobby, because stories like the 1997 P quarter inspire people to check their pocket change, to go through old jars of coins, and to visit flea markets or garage sales in the hopes of stumbling upon the next treasure. And although the odds are slim, the possibility is what excites people, because history has proven again and again that ordinary people have found extraordinary wealth hiding in plain sight. And when experts analyze the 90 For $1 million quarter they point out tiny die cracks that spider across the surface, minute details of doubling in the eagle's feathers, shifts in the positioning of lettering that indicate misalignment, and traces of grease-filled dies that cause certain letters or numbers to appear weak or missing, and each of these anomalies on its own would make a coin collectible, but when combined together in one specimen they elevate it to an entirely different level of rarity. And another fascinating aspect is that some believe the coin could have been a test strike or experimental piece accidentally released into circulation, which would explain the unusual errors and differences, and if that theory holds true then it is not just an error coin but also a historic artifact representing a unique moment in the minting process, further amplifying its desirability and price. And when we look at the psychology behind why someone would pay $94 million for a quarter, we realize it is about far more than the coin itself. It is about prestige, legacy, and investment, because owning such a coin places the collector in a class of their own, a custodian of history, someone who has secured a piece of Americana that is virtually irreplaceable. And beyond the pride of ownership there is also the financial aspect, since rare coins often appreciate in value over time, meaning that 94 million today could become even more tomorrow as demand increases and supply remains fixed at essentially one specimen. And when you add in the fact that collectors and museums compete for such rarities, it creates a marketplace where the sky is the limit for pricing. And in the end, the 1997 P quarter is not just a coin, it is a symbol of chance, rarity, and the strange ways in which human history and error intertwine to create treasures out of mistakes. And its story reminds us that sometimes perfection is less valuable than imperfection, because it is the flaws, the accidents, and the anomalies that make something truly unique. And as long as people continue to be fascinated by rarity and mystery, the legend of the $94 million 1997 P quarter will live on, inspiring new generations of collectors to keep searching, keep believing, and keep hoping that one day they too might hold a fortune in the palm of their hand, hidden in the humble shape of a $quarter.